why did Venezuela's economy collapse? Okay, and as of January the 1st, 2026, the United States Marines went in and took over Venezuela. Okay, removing the president. All right. All right, today is the 3rd at 2:30 a.m. last night. Okay. All right. January the 3rd, 2026. They went into Venezuela and captured the president in order to set up a puppet leader. All right. All right. From the United States or what have you. One that agrees with America. All right. And it is wickedness. Okay. That's what it is. All right. The Lord gave them dominion of the earth and granted them the gift of the sword, and that's what they do. They wield it. Okay? Well, let's go back a little bit and look at how this was acquired, how they brought this nation down. But it's their MO. We'll start with their MO. Okay, Micah 2 and verses 1. This is the MO of the United States of America, which is Babylon the Great, ran by Esau Edom. All right, the so-called white man, which was this dominion, this time period of rulership, and power was given to them. All right, to take peace from the earth with the gift of the sword. Micah 2 verses 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it's in the power of their hand. All right, the power is in their hand. The Lord gave them the power to pretty much conquer the world, okay? And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage, okay? So that's the MO of the so-called white man, in which is the devil that the Bible speaks of, okay? And they brought this country economy down, okay, and put them in a state where they couldn't pretty much participate in the world's economy. All right, and America was directly involved. It was General Wesley Clark that told us that the U.S. would take down 7 oil-rich nations, okay, and why? Because they had a hammer in their military, and the countries are a nail, and they have a mighty military, and they can take down that's similar to the words he stated, but not exactly. I'll try to see can I find the quote and put it in the video. But anyway, yeah. And so they're completing their mission. They want to take down Venezuela, and they also want to take down the oil-rich nation of Iran as well. And that's their goal. All right. All right. And they deceive the world. They're the deceiver. Let's go to Revelation chapter 20. All right. They said that they were terrorists, savages. All right. They said that Venezuela is bringing drugs into their country. All of that. That's how they do. They demonize with they use their witchcraft, which is the media. All right, the television set. All right, and people believe every word that they say. Okay, let's go here to let's see here. We'll go to Revelation chapter, we'll just read 20 and 7 and 8. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of prison. This time period was during the 1300s. This was after the Dark Ages and the so-called white man started coming back into power in Europe. Okay, they had taken down the so-called Moors, which the tribe of Judah, all right, and the North Africans. Okay, they took them down out of power. They were ruling over there in Europe. Okay, for 1,000 years, and when 1,000 years are expired, Satan should be loosed out of prison and shall go out to do what? To deceive the nations. Okay, all right. I'm gonna stop there because I don't want to confuse any. That's the point that I'm trying to make. Okay, and should go out to deceive the nations, which are in the four quarters of the earth. Okay, all over the world. Okay, so when they came back into power in the 1300s, they sailed to America in 1492. Columbus arrived and started slaughtering the natives over here. And what did they say? They were savages. So that gave them the green light that everybody said, oh, they're savages. It's okay to kill them, okay? All right? The same tactics are being used today. And as I had spoken of, they just took down Venezuela's president after destroying their economy, okay? They destroyed their economy, but they didn't achieve their goals. They want to control the oil. They want to put in a puppet leader and control the oil, all right? Just like Wesley Clark had stated. General Wesley Clark said that they would take down the oil-rich nations of the world, 7 oil-rich nations of the world. And this has happened just last night. So let's go back and let's take a look at how they destroyed their economy. And that's the reason why the Venezuelans flooded into America during the Biden term, because their economy was destroyed, okay, by America. And let's just prove that real quick. Hold on. Let me see, can I find that? All right, we're at ChatGPT. Okay, and the role of America, contribution, that's what I'm looking for. All right. It said, did the United States government participate in the destruction of Venezuelan economy? That's what I asked ChatGPT. The United States government has played a significant role through sanctions and other policies that contributed to the collapse of Venezuela's economy, but it's also not the only cause. Forget all that. I want to know what we did, okay? So how the U.S. was involved. They used economic sanctions. The U.S. imposed a regime of economic sanctions on Venezuela over the past decade. All right, decade, that's 10 years, especially targeting its oil sector and access to international finance. So they stopped them from being able to even sell their own oil. And they have the largest oil reserves in the world. Since around 2017, sanctions expanded from individuals to sector-wide measures, restricting Venezuela's ability to sell oil, access U.S. dollars, and participate in global financial markets. The sanctions isolated Venezuela economically at a time when oil, its main export, was its primary source of revenue. So that's basically the answer, okay? America destroyed this country, and that's why the people flooded in as immigrants into America, all right? Because their economy was destroyed. So the people, they were literally, you seen in the beginning of this video, the wheelbarrows of their Bolivia, their currency, you know, it was being burned and made into different items to sell because it was no more good. This is what America has done. All right. When Hugo Chavez was the president of Venezuela, he knew that they were the devil, right? He had a Noam Chomsky book, and he's a pretty bright so-called white man. I mean, he's a white man, I think German or whatever. Chomsky sounds German. But anyway, he read his book, and he knew that the so-called white man was the devil, okay, that the Bible speaks of. And he gave a speech, I think this is at the UN. All right, so let's listen up real quick.
First people who should read this book are our brothers and sisters in the United States, because their threat is in their own house. The devil is right at home. The devil himself is right in the house. And the devil came here yesterday. Yesterday, the devil came here. Right here. Right here. And it smells of sulfur still today. This table that I am now standing in front of. Yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, from this rostrum, the President of the United States, the gentleman to whom I refer as the devil, came here talking as if he owned the world.
Como dueño del mundo.
Truly, as the owner of the world.
Un psiquiatra no estaría de más.
Job, chapter 24, chapter 9. Job chapter 9 and verse 24. We always read it. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Okay? So he knew that they were the wicked.
I think we could call a psychiatrist to analyze yesterday's statement made by the President of the United States. As the spokesman of imperialism, he came to share his nostrums to try to preserve the current pattern of domination, exploitation, and pillage of the peoples of the world. An Alfred Hitchcock movie could use it as a scenario. I would even propose a title: The Devil's Recipe.
El imperialismo norteamericano, y aquí lo dice Chomsky,
as Chomsky says here clearly and in depth, the American empire is doing all it can to consolidate its hegemonistic system of domination, and we cannot allow them to do that. We cannot allow world dictatorship to be consolidated.
El discurso del presidente tirano mundial.
General Wesley Clark, okay? Not sure if you know who he is, but he was once a general, and he spilled the beans, and he revealed themselves as the devil, okay, in the earth. All right? So let's read, let's go to Revelation chapter 6 and 4. It tells us, okay, here, and there went out another horse that was red. Horse symbolizing power, right? The horse that was red was a symbol of the Edomites. All right, the so-called white man. All right, let's go over to Genesis chapter 25. Let's go to Genesis chapter 25, and we'll read. This is speaking of the two boys, which were Jacob and Esau, all right? And they will be given dominion in the earth, all right, from their forefather Isaac, okay? All right, so it tells us at verse 23, because Rebecca was pregnant. You can read this on your own, Genesis chapter 25, 21 on down. Genesis chapter 25 and 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. Okay, 2 different people, 2 different manner of people, 2 nations of people. One being the Edomites and one being the Israelites. Okay, just getting to the point. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. The younger was Jacob. Okay, this is what's going to happen in the end. Okay, so the Lord, being justice, he allowed Esau to get to have the dominion in the earth. Okay, before Yahushua returned, and he would come through the seed line of Jacob, through King David. All right. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, verse 24, behold, there were twins in her womb. Listen carefully. The first came out red all over like an hairy garment. They call his name Esau. You see that? Now, when we go back to Revelation chapter 6 and 4, it tells us, and there went out another horse that was red. You see that? And power was given to him. All right? That sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. Through countless wars, these Edomites have caused, all right, since they've been, in power, all right, they have taken peace from the earth, okay? And I showed you through the sanctions that they put upon Venezuela, they took down that whole nation economically. And now they have taken control of that country, all right, as of January the 3rd, 2026. All right. And the last part of that verse, and there was given unto him a great sword. Okay. This was given to him by their forefather Isaac. We'll go here. Genesis chapter 27 and 38 was the blessings of the 2 boys, Jacob and Esau. And we'll go down to 40. We'll just get to the point. This is what Esau will receive. And by thy sword shalt thou live. Okay? Thy sword. He was given a great sword. You read it, right? And shalt serve thy brother, his twin brother that was born of the 2 nations. Right? He was of the younger. You go back and read that. Genesis chapter 25. He was of the younger. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, control of the entire earth. All right, Job 9 and 24. The earth was given into the hand of the wicked, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. He would break the yoke of Jacob off his neck, which happened in Europe when the so-called Negroes were ruling for 1,000 years. We read that in Revelation chapter 20. Right? Okay, so Wesley Clark, all right, so they were given a great sword. Just understand that, right? And by thy sword shall thy live, right? And then when we go to Revelation, I'm just trying to give you the precepts spiritually so you can understand. All right, this is a spiritual book to be spiritually discerned. And there went out another horse that was red, that symbolizing the Edomites, and power was given to him. It was a people, a man, right, that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. That's what they've been doing this whole time, okay? And that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. Now listen to what Wesley Clark has to say.
Right after 9/11, about 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who used to work for me. And one of the generals called me in. He said, "Sir, you got come in, you got to come in and talk to me a second. I said, well, you're too busy. He said, no. He says, we've made the decision we're going to war with Iraq. This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, we're going to war with Iraq. Why? He said, I don't know. He said, I guess they don't know what else to do. So I said, well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda? He said, no. He says, there's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq. He said, I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we got a good military and we can take down governments. And he said, I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail. So,
you hear that? Check this scripture. Jeremiah 50:23. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? That's the future of America, Babylon the Great. And as you heard from his mouth, he told you that they was the hammer. Okay?
Oh, I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, are we still going to war with Iraq? And he said, oh, it's worse than that. He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, this is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran. I said, is it classified? He said, yes, sir. I said, well, don't show it to me. And I saw him a year or so ago, and I said, you remember that? He said, sir, I didn't show you that memo. I didn't show it to you.
I'm sorry, what did you say his name was?
So as you can see, these devils think it's funny to destroy people's countries and take them down. All right? I just wanted to show you who the devil was. Okay? All right? And today, 1/3/26, they took down Venezuela, another oil-rich nation. All right? Okay? After destroying their economy and their people. Okay? All right? And we're waiting on the Lord, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, to take down this power structure, the hammer of the whole earth, America, Babylon the Great, all right, and their infrastructure. Until that happens, there will be no peace in the earth. They will continue to take peace from the earth, as it says in Revelation chapter 6 and 4. Because they were designed to be that way. The Lord created them to be the wicked in the earth. Okay? So I thought I would bring that out and let you know, what this whole Venezuelan thing is about. Okay? It's about taking over someone else's resources. All right? And it's being done by the devil, all right? Esau, Edom, so-called white man, Babylon the Great. So now the President Maduro will be replaced. I think it's a woman that they already have been selected, I think. All right? She's down with American policy and so forth. We'll see where this heads, where prophecy heads after this. All right? We pray, Lord willing, that the Lord brings forth destruction. All right? All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekakwadash, Shalom.